Definitely.
Lovely. Okay. So they say that common sense is probably one of the most uncommon things available in today's day and life. So our next speaker, if he was Tom Cruise, his movie would have been called Mission I Am Possible, because he truly believes in the mantra impossible is to be read as I am possible. And that's a mantra for success in life for everyone. So he has 30 plus years of experience providing leadership and consultancy in program delivery, process management, cybersecurity, and L&D in the domains of information technology and digital services transformations. He's also an expert in training professionals from all the levels, entry level to the top leaders of global organizations. And he focuses on creating awareness to implement best practices on life skills for them. He believes in the power of training, and he feels that it's key to create positive impact in the lives of professionals at all levels. So, ladies and gentlemen, to talk about the topic, the art of project management, a common sense approach, is none other than Mr. Chandran Ram. Please put your hands together for Mr. Chandran Ram.
Thank you, Krishna Arjun, and thank you, Ina Madam. I feel very privileged to thank Kushalji and Chandrasekharji and the Amplify platform, which is facilitating for all the speakers to use it and in their mission to transform the whole world with various topics ranging from leadership, business, spirituality, and whatnot, actually. So thank you very much for organizing that platform for all the speakers. Shall I share the screen? My time has started, right?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, my dear friends. Any guess from which time period project management has been existing? I know that all of you know the answer, that whenever the human life and civilization started existing, project management also have started existing. So here I am to talk about the common sense aspects, common sense perspective of project management, and how the project management in our personal as well as professional lives is transforming what we were and what we are today. Okay, so I just wanted to look at who are the project managers. If you look at the pyramids of Egypt or any architectural marvels all over the world, or whether it is a man-made seven wonder marvels like Taj Mahal or the Leaning Tower of Pisa, or any other architectural structures or sculptures and everything, actually. So if you look at the creators of all these structures or all these things, actually, they are project managers in one way or the other. On the other hand, or moreover, if you also look at events like space programs, the Apollo 13, which put the first human into the moon, or the Chandrayaan, or the Mangalyaan, or any of the events like conduction of a marriage, or any construction of a building or anything like that. None of these things go without involvement of project management in that, because common sense is involved in all these things. So without project management, all these things would have been disasters. even production of movies or music orchestra and all that actually. So project management is heavily involved in that. So what is project management all about, and why project management, and why do we need a project manager? Project management is nothing. One of the definitions says that it's leading a work of a team to achieve business objectives, to meet the success criteria for the customer or whoever it is made for, actually, right? That is a simplest of definitions. Or on the other hand, it can also be an application of processes, skills, knowledge, experience, methods. Everything is focused towards achieving a project objective. So that is the simplest thing a project management can achieve. All these things involves common sense and nothing but common sense. The challenge in doing this is achieving this objective. Means at the end of the project, what happens? You produce a product or a service. So like in everything what we do in the world, this also has got challenges. So what are the challenges? There will be some constraints or limitations. So the project manager should be aware of these limitations and then execute that project and then complete that to the satisfaction of who it has been made. So that is about the project manager. So why do we need a project manager? Just imagine a situation, a hospital, where an accident victim is brought to the hospital. That victim, that person needs immediate surgery. Everyone is there, doctors, nurses, everyone is there. So if it happens that immediately after he gets admitted, everyone works on this person to do everything, will it become all right? It will become a disaster, right? They will screw up the whole thing, and then it will be detrimental to the life of the person itself. So what happens in a situation like this in a hospital? There will be a primary one doctor who will be coordinating and giving instructions to the other doctors and the nurses and all the medical staff with all the steps. And there will be some methods they'll be using, some processes they'll be using. They'll be performing the surgery step by step. And then, they will save the life of the person. So the doctor or the doctor who is coordinating and giving the instructions is basically playing the role of a project manager. For all the activities in the world which are happening here to produce a outcome, project management is involved. There is no doubt about it. So how the project management is transforming, how it is a powerful process for creating a transformational change that produces successful business outcomes, actually. So I want to draw examples like Nokia was there. So Nokia was a cable company initially. And what happened to Nokia? So they made some, because it was one state. So transformation means that you are in a state of nothing or state of something. And then what Nokia did, they started making some adaptations to some changes using some processes and methods. And then they became a communication company, correct? So from one state to the other state, that is the transformation. Like that, if you look at our Indian railway reservation system, earlier, the reservations were all done in a manual manner. So I remember that in our town, there is no reservation center. We used to travel some 40 kilometers in order to book a railway ticket. If we want to plan to go from one place to the other place, well in advance we plan. So we have to go stand in the queue, and then there will be a manual register for a particular date, for a particular train. They will, the staff will book the ticket, they will write on it. They will print you some tickets, actually olden time tickets, you all know, actually. They will give it to you, right? So that was there some 30 years, 40 years back, like say 70s, 80s. That was the situation. But what is the situation now? The whole thing is transformed using technology and whatnot, actually, right? So technology is there, but what has played in the back, actually, it's basically project management. Now, we can just sit in front of our laptop or computers and then book a ticket within minutes. Where do you want to go, right? Everything is in place. Likewise, in all domains, like if you banking or healthcare or telecommunication and whatnot, actually. So project management has come into play to make huge transformations. Of course, using technology and other things are there, but what has played behind that is all project management. Everything is common sense, nothing else. So if you look at some core concepts of project management, there are some six fundamental pillars in project management. Um, Six fundamental pillars are there: scope, cost, time, quality, risk, and resource. That's what we call it as. The primary duty of a project manager is to juggle around all these fundamental pillars and then communicate. That the center of the thing is communicate with all the stakeholders or the customers about the state of each of these things, and then how the project is going, and then tell the reality, like say there is some problem, there is some risk, we need this, we need that, all that, actually, right? Inform the reality to the customers and other stakeholders to put that thing in track and then complete it successfully. That is the only and the primary objective of a project manager, which is nothing but common sense. I'll just quickly go into all these aspects. Scope is nothing but the work which is required for you to perform it. Where work come from? Requirements. You understand the requirements from the customer and then you define the scope, right? I recall a joke, actually, right? There is one salesman of a vacuum cleaner. He wants to demonstrate his vacuum cleaner. So he just took a bag of cow dung, dried cow dung, went into a house and then knocked the door. A lady came out, actually, immediately barged into the room and then poured all the cow dung powder on it, and then told the lady that, if I don't clean all this shit from your room in 3 minutes, I will eat this cow dung powder by myself. So the lady laughed at him and then asked, so do you want a tomato sauce or a chili sauce along with that? He was surprised and asked, why are you telling this madam like this, actually? The lady told that there is no power in our house in the morning, so you will not be able to demonstrate your vacuum cleaner, unfortunately. So, which tells that the requirements, understanding the requirements is very important. That defines the scope. Cost is nothing but the tangible and intangible monies which are involved. You need to pay people, you need to buy the material. So all the costs and management of that is the cost aspect. Time, basically, like you start the work and then end it in a particular time. Starting Jan and end in December. So the duration. Quality. So what is the quality? Basically, the characteristic or the features which you are building into the product, which is as per the customer's needs, actually. So if I just take an example, like say if I build a house, what are the primary qualities I expect in the house? If there should not be any leakage, and the structure should be very strong, and all the other things are there. So there are some fundamental things. So same thing, any product or service should have that. Risks, actually. So in our life is full of risks, actually. Even if you want to cross a road, risks are there. If you want to take a vehicle and drive, there are risks, actually. Project also, risks will be there. So the duty of the project manager is to find the risk, identify the risks, and then give a warning signal, and then do the correction in the appropriate time. Resources we know, actually, right? Materials, living or non-living, right? People, human resources, and things like that. So this is the whole crux of the project management, where the project manager operates within these things. So the primary three constraints are there: scope, cost, and time, or the three constraints within which the project manager is expected to operate upon. Right. So what are the good traits of a project manager? So there are a few things here. I'll just quickly run through this. Ego and no ego, right? So ego means the project manager will have an emotional connection on the delivery, whatever they are doing. No ego means that keep out their own interests and then do that work, actually, mission, right? So a person has to balance both. Autocrat and delegator. Sometimes the PM has to be an autocrat, sometimes a delegator. A believer and skeptic. Believer means that give the team all the respect and then do that. Skeptic means that You have to ask the right questions at the right things. You need not be like cynical, but you need to be skeptic, so that to bring anything which is wrong to right. Actually, complexity and simplicity is like any challenges which are faced. No, but things are very much challenges will be there. Convert them into clarity and then simplicity. So balance these two, right? All are common sense, right? Impatient and patient. Sometimes behave like a taskmaster. Sometimes uh, like bureaucratic activities. So be patient for that, right? Fear and courage. So look at everything with some fear. Actually, something might be hiding somewhere, right? But take them out and then with courage take on the challenge and then attack it and then uh, kill it. So these are all the primary traits of a project manager. Everything is common sense. So vision of a project. So the project manager ultimately should have a clear vision of the project where he is taking the team to, actually, right? What are all the aspects for the vision? Impacted people, project impacted people, like say metro is there, some metro project some people are planning. So it cannot be done in silos. You need to be taking into account the nature activists, nature lovers, because some trees might be you will be planning to cut, so you need to take them into confidence. They are also a stakeholder. Like that, you need to identify who are all the people, set their expectations, and then the depth of knowledge. The PM should possess the depth of the knowledge and lead the team, create the awareness and agreement from the team, and then lead the team, right? So what are all the signs? The vision should be very simplified. It should be driven towards the goal. It should be integrated or consolidated. It should be inspirational and memorable. Like if I give a good product to the customer will refer you to another of their business partners and then say that, okay, this particular company has done a good job. So you will get a reference, right? So that is a good memory, right? So these are all pure common sense. So what are all the some of the pitfalls in the project management? So around 4 minutes are there, right? I think 4 or 6, 7 minutes are there. So if you don't define the scope properly, so that will lead to a disaster. Inaccurate estimates, that can also lead to a disaster. And detailing, if you don't, the PM doesn't detail the plans properly, it will become inefficient. And failure to identify risks in the correct time, then that will definitely lead to disaster. So if you don't identify the risk and then highlight to the stakeholders and correct it then and there, it is going to create a big major problem to the project. Lack of project manager experience, formal methodologies. So there are proven methodologies for project management, like say PMI, Prince2, all that. They talk a lot about the project management methodologies. Now the agile concepts have come, actually. So all those things are there. So we need to apply some methodologies. Robust communication, lack of it, definitely, right? Because we earlier said that project manager his job is to continuously communicate, right, about the pillars. So robust communication, failure to track the changes. Changes are very inherent. Agile is only talking about changes. I welcome changes, but I'll tell that, okay, so once the change comes in, I'll tell you that when I'll be able to give you that change in the product or service, right? So I want to explain something about the one incident which happened way back in 1912, right? When I say 1912, you will all know what I am referring to. Actually, it is nothing but the Titanic disaster. So there were some pitfalls, there were some flaws in the project management, which they built this ship, actually. So that shipping company of Titanic actually had two more other ships, but they wanted to. It's called, I think, Olympic and Britannic, I think, right? Yeah. So they wanted to build a superior ship. That is what Titanic is supposed to be. But in the process of building that superior ship, what are all the things they overlooked or failed, right? One is that uh, they see this instead of giving the fundamental things correctly, they have given more focus to the luxury of the ship actually. In that process, the speed or whatever it is, they compromised. That is one thing. In the name of luxury, they reduced the number of lifeboats for Titanic. So the lifeboat was a major problem when the Titanic disaster happened actually, right? Some of the crew, I think many of the crew except the captain, didn't have binoculars. So they were not able to see where the icebergs are there or whatever it is. So nobody other than the captain had binoculars actually. And no proper testing for collision damage. So they were doing this trial with this journey only. So this is actually, this is a very serious problem, right? So that is one thing. And very important is that the captain of the other ship called this Titanic and said that there are icebergs, please be careful. When this person, the one of the operating people who received this message, they ignored that message totally. Because of that, this disaster happened. So project management failed. That's why they say that others will have to take learnings from this, and then when they do the next projects. So whenever something goes wrong, what you can blame the people, or you can blame the people, or you can actually start to do the correction actually. So the project manager should do the second one. They started doing the correction. They should have to start doing the correction. Keep calm, evaluate the problem, get the right people into the room, explore the alternatives, make a simple workaround or plan, communicate what you're going to do, very important, and execute it. After execution, you do your post-mortem and all those things actually. So these are all the primary common sense things which a project manager should demonstrate or exhibit. So finally, so the art, what are all the learnings we should take from here actually? For the stakeholders, improved understanding of the project management, and then better communication. And for risks, you anticipate the risks. The risks are everywhere, so project manager should be anticipating it. Walk the talk, be realistic, and then tell it openly that I cannot deliver a quality thing for you. So this is what the correction we need to do. Tell it openly. Rapid adjustment, changes will be there, so make the adjustment, right? Learn from mistakes, like what we said, Titanic. Learn from the mistakes and do not repeat those mistakes in your other endeavors. Keep the momentum going by knowing your team and ensuring high morale. Motivate the team always, right? So before concluding, I want to also share with you a very interesting incident which happened with our ex-president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So when they were doing this PSLV, right? The PSLV first failed. So they were doing a lot of this one. That was a project, and then Dr. APJ was the project manager of that, right? So what happened during the countdown of that? One of the computers gave a error saying that don't launch it. There's a problem. But Dr. APJ discussed with the team and then said, okay, fine, we'll go ahead to launch. He took the risk, but it failed, right? After failing, the whole nation is looking forward to the journalists and everyone. So APJ decided, Dr. APJ decided to come and talk to the journalists, say that this time we have failed. So as a team, we take the responsibility. I am the project manager. I'm taking the accountability. We will work on this and then make it a success in few months. After a few months, they launched the PSLV and then it became a success this time. But what Dr. APJ did, such a humble and humility man, actually, what he did, he called his team and then he called the team leader and said, go and talk to the journalists. Say that the whole success belongs to the team, right? What a mental state and what a humble person he is actually, right? That is what team morale is all about. So when the project becomes successful, be humble and then give the credit to the team. When it is become failure, take own responsibility. Project manager will take the responsibility. So this is how project should be run. This is all common sense, actually. So with that, I come to the end of the presentation. And with the project management, if you apply common sense, definitely project management will transform the whole world in any endeavor anybody takes up, actually. With that, I thank you. And here is my coordinates. And I am an executive founder partner of Excellent Learning, which is basically empowering the learners to excel. And all my credentials, all my coordinates are there. So I welcome you to reach out to us if you have any learning needs. We are more than happy to help you. Thank you very much and have a nice evening and nice day.
Thank you, Chandran sir. Fantastic session once again. Lovely to see you weave a lot of incidents, anecdotes from movies, as well as from the life of the President APJ Abdul Kalam sir. Thank you for inspiring us. And yes, we truly believe that project management is a constantly evolving field. You have agile and many other technologies or methodologies coming your way, but at the end of it, common sense is going to be the common factor which will ensure success.
Yes. Common sense is the one which will work. All the other things, statistics and numbers, all those things are there. But at the end of the day, common sense is the only thing which will work.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much. So our next speaker